Hey everybody, welcome to WhatCulture Gaming. I'm Scott, joined by Josh.
Hello.
And we've finally got a look at Call of Duty's Blackout mode.
Finally, and it looks goddamn good.
It looks amazing, doesn't it? Let's be completely honest. I'll be completely honest. I didn't expect a whole lot from it. I kind of thought they were chasing Fortnite, chasing PUBG, and they were just going to stitch together their maps, and then it was, I don't know, I didn't have a good vibe, especially because even at their reveal event, they didn't reveal anything. They ended up focusing on the campaign, and well, the lack of a campaign, and the game itself. Point being, now we've got a good look at it, and my immediate thought was, that looks way more fun and tactile and deep than Fortnite.
You know what kind of like a stupid thing was that going into this, even though I knew it was Black Ops 4 and you have all these gadgets, I didn't expect them to come into play into the Battle Royale mode. I expected, like, maybe it's because my expectations were down here. I just thought it was going to be a bare bones basic PUBG rip-off, essentially.
Well, I mean, considering the dev time, assumedly they turned it around pretty damn fast. But yeah, they've kind of rolled together some zombie elements. They've got all the gadgets. You've got all the underwater gameplay stuff that they kind of brought in Black Ops 3. I think it was 3. But either way, I'm going to break down a few little things that stuck out to me. The biggest one initially was the amount of vehicles. You see jeeps, helicopters, wagons, which, you know, is a huge leg up on Fortnite because they have shopping trolleys and golf carts. And they don't really play like that much of... You know, you tend to stay away from them because you're drawing too much fire towards yourself. But it looks like if you play it in the way that the trailer like sets out for Black Ops, for Blackout, then you know everyone's got a vehicle and it's full-on H1Z1 style.
I have no idea how they go to
warfare.
control, but you know those ATVs, like not ATVs, those like trucks that people were sort of driving around in. They reminded me so much of the Warthogs from Halo. I like the way they were kind of weaving in and out and going over jumps. I was like, man, that is so Halo and that is so good.
Yeah, it seems like they have like a proper physics model to them. I mean, I don't know if you have to drive them in first person, whether you can kick it to third, but they did have someone on the back as well. You can have a passenger, obviously someone, you know, doing the turret type stuff while you drive them around. But just from a pure, like, you know, approach to combat way, that's a level up on Fortnite, at least as far as I'm concerned, because I never felt that confident in a golf cart or in the shopping trolley. So that was kind of one of the things. The next one was just straight up movement. Like we've got, you know, one of the most time-tested and beloved game engines probably of all time, especially in the first-person shooter genre. You know, and they've had over a decade to perfect it. Once you start seeing it in motion, I mean, everyone, you know, people are divided on whether they love or don't love COD, but it's so tight.
But everyone loves the way COD feels.
Yes.
We can all agree on that. Like, the shooting in COD just feels great. And there's a reason why, you know, like, a lot of other games have tried to ape it, and, like, Titanfall 2 feels very similar to, like, Call of Duty. And it's just great. And I love that you have that sort of sense of movement, that sense of combat in this really vertical space. Like, you're using grapples to go up to buildings, and, like, there's big skyscrapers in there and stuff. And that's really an interesting element that you don't see in many battle royale games.
That was only one of my things, because that's the thing. If you think about the, you know, the base array of abilities that you have as a character in terms of the controls, like, you know, yes, you can build or whatever, but like you can crouch and you can shoot, and that's pretty much it. Whereas in this, you've got the grapple hook, you can do a knee slide, like you've got different. There's all the gadgets, like just, and even they even showed like a wingsuit. Like it seems like you said they've got a big vertical space, and you can just choose like I want to go up here, I want to go around here, I want to drop down, do whatever. Like,
well, that's the thing. You don't just have vehicles. You, like you said, you've got the wingsuit. You've got the ability to sort of swim underwater, like all those elements from the previous Call of Duty games that are coming into play in this gigantic sandbox. There is just, it has far more versatility than I was ever expecting.
Same. And speaking of the underwater thing as well, I had a separate point for this, but and kind of just roll it together. The TTK, the time to kill, which Call of Duty has waxed and waned on by like, you know, per installment.
Yeah.
When they show the footage in the trailer of the guy being shot underwater, it seems like it does take a good few hits to put him down.
Yeah, this is the thing I'm split on, because it does take a while to kill him under the water, but there's later on some dude gets shot with a 3-round burst and he just goes down, and the guy gets like thrown knifed and he just goes down. So I'm not sure how extended it's going to be, because they've already increased the time to kill in the base multiplayer. Apparently. Like you have to heal manually and stuff. I don't know whether it's the exact same thing or whether they have increased it. I'd like it increased a little bit.
Oh, really? I don't know. For me, Black Ops 3 was way too fast, and then when I played the beta for 4, I thought they slowed it down pretty spot on.
Right.
I basically, like, I don't want to just see someone and die. I want to have a chance, which Halo and Titanfall give you, and I always love that. Same with Overwatch or whatever. So yeah, I mean, it seems like they've reduced it a little bit. It could be because he's just firing underwater. And one of the biggest questions at the minute is also whether they're going to have a loot system, like they're going to end up putting some of the weapons behind loot tiers, which would mean that, you know, if you wouldn't have a powerful enough weapon to take someone else straight away.
All the dudes in this trailer were just like rocking the weapons you'd get in a regular creator class. There wasn't really any sense of like progression of starting out with a pistol and then progressing through these weapons. So I wonder if you do just get your classes that you start with your gadgets, or you do find them in the world. I
have to imagine that you drop and procure stuff, but I don't know. They've released a whole bunch of new information. We're just reacting to the trailer. I don't know how much else is out there. But yeah, it seems like, you know, the way that you drop into the world like that is a bunch of options open to you, and that just fundamentally makes it, for me, at least for me, way more interesting than Fortnite. So there's that. Also tagging onto that, they've kind of got the approach of land, sea, and air, like we talked about the wingsuits, but you do have helicopters. Like, again, you're approaching combat scenarios in a way that you can't in PUBG and in Fortnite.
One of the most exciting bits in the trailer for me, I think it's when he throws like a sticky grenade onto a helicopter with a big group of dudes in. And I was like, that is awesome, because it's not something you usually see in Call of Duty, you know what I mean? That's just so good.
It reminded me a little bit of the old Halo 3 trailer back when Bungie knew what the they were doing, and they had this making of thing for Halo 3, and Joseph Staten was talking about, like, I think it was him, was talking about, like, you know, you're facing down a warthog, a bunch of guys coming towards you, and he's like, look, you're gonna die, but they threw down his sticky mine and blew up the warthog. They still got killed, but they were like, but at least I got them as well. And it's like it taps into one of the best things about multiplayer gaming, just that outwitting other players, and something that a lot of games don't give you the tools to do. So yeah, you might think that you're overpowered in a big old helicopter, but if someone has the right equipment, they can still get one up on you, and I quite like that. The biggest thing, though, overall, is the level design, because as much as like Epic are pretty damn solid, they ain't, Treyarch, and they ain't the guys that are putting Call of Duty games together. And basically, COD's approach in Blackout is to stitch together a series of other maps.
Which I love. Yeah. I love that approach, because it gives it a lot more personality, a lot more character, and there's always something to find, whether, even in, like, the best Battle Royale games. And Fortnite has, like, a really lush art style, but from when I'm just walking around that, I'm not, like, sort of engaged in the world itself.
No.
And they have added more as time has gone on, which makes it more interesting, but it's not like this, which seem like sort of self-contained levels in their own right, then stitched together into one giant map.
Well, you've got, like, obviously Nuketown is like the one that a lot of people point out, but you've got big old, like, I mean, I don't know the specific names, big old construction sites, and, like, like different ones that are set near, like, sea, which means you can, like, if you need to get out of the way, you can just leap in the sea, go around, come back up. Like, there are different ways that they can, like, fundamentally, they can make the levels in a different way that Fortnite doesn't allow. Basically, because in Fortnite, if you make a vertical level, a lot of the players aren't going to be able to engage with it in a way that you could with a Call of Duty engine. So I like the way that they've kind of, gone at it, and it seems like their map is immediately more detailed and has more to it.
Yeah, whether it has more character, I guess, is like, from like a visual perspective, but I mean, like, the way the people in the trailer were sort of navigating it, and like the verticality of it seems far more interesting, far more intricate than anything in Fortnite, like you said, just because you have a wider range of abilities at your disposal.
Yeah, I mean, basically, if you wrote it on paper, it's Call of Duty meets Battle Royale, but watching it in motion, the whole trailer was in game, like, it just seems like they've nailed it. The tone is spot on. Even some zombies pop up, like they throw a monkey bomb and like some zombies appear, which means that you can spring traps depending on where you are in the level. If you go to one of the levels, a piece of the level that is reminiscent of zombies, you can actually summon the zombies to take out your opponents. Things like that are going to make for some great moments in ways that you actually win the game overall and stuff like that. So for me, the impression is resoundingly positive.
Yeah, me too. I'm kind of scared about how excited I am for it. I didn't want to be this excited for it, especially after they cut out the campaign mode. But if I haven't really jumped into a Call of Duty in a few years, especially in the multiplayer side of things. I played all the campaigns because I love them, but this seems like weirdly enough, even though everyone's doing it, this Battle Royale mode seems like it could be the thing to really get me back into this, like, world.
It seems like as much as you do, I mean, when they first said we're doing Battle Royale the Black Ops way, and we all went, what does that even mean? And it's not like Black Ops has this massive, gameplay, mechanical identity, but you do have things like the faster movement underwater, the use of gadgets, the grapple hook, little bits and pieces that they've had in the past that now when they roll them all together, it's like, actually, that does have like an identifiable, set of gameplay loops, and I can't wait to leap into them. So yeah, our general response has been incredibly positive, and as you can tell, we're rambling with sheer enthusiasm. So let us know what you think down in the comments below. I've been Scott from WhatCulture.com.
I've been Josh from WhatCulture.com.
And we'll catch you soon.
Bye.
Bye.